Hello and welcome to the SMEFocus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. I'm your host this week to carry on the great work this show does highlighting UK manufacturing and in particular SMEs. My guest today is Adrian Howe from the Danish mobile robotics company Mobile Industrial Robots, or MIR. MIR is owned by the American company Teradyne, who also own Universal Robots. Adrian is their sales manager for the UK and Ireland. His background is in electronics, and he's been with MIR for 2.5 years, working with distributors and integrators to deliver end solutions to customers. Hi, Adrian. Welcome to SMEFocus.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. No problem. Anybody who deals with distributors and integrators has my sympathy, so should be interested to hear your side of things. First question, can I kick off by asking you about your work history and your interest in manufacturing, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I've been with MIR now for 2.5 years. It's always great to be working with manufacturing companies of all sorts of different backgrounds, and our partners, the distributor and integrators, are just the same. They have different backgrounds as well. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about it, is the variety of the job, working with each site, which is different. They've got lots of different challenges, lots of different ways of doing things, even though they're in the similar markets. So I've been involved over my time now with all sorts of different industries, from automotive through logistics, electronics, and everything in between. And that's one of the kind of more rewarding things about the job. Another thing that I do is a lot of the brand awareness promotion for the company in the UK. So we're doing a lot of exhibitions around the UK and around Ireland as well. And it's great to talk about where the technology is going, because it's always evolving. Robotics is one of those industries that's always stepping forwards on the kind of cusp of where the technology can take it. So that's another thing that's great, is the challenge for where the technology is going for the future.
Okay. Do you find any particular exhibitions to be more interesting, or any market sectors that you're sort of talking to that may be more surprised that robotics is applicable? How do the different exhibitions and markets perform?
The automotive industry are traditionally quite good at taking up automation, and mobile robots is no exception. They're very keen to get involved in all of that. But there are a lot of industries that don't realise maybe what could be done with robots, because there's a lot of variety in the ways you can use mobile robots in an industry. So yeah, there are certain sectors which are pushing forward with it at full speed, and there are others that are still kind of discovering which ways that mobile robots can work for them.
So the website uses the term autonomous mobile robots, or AMRs, quite a lot. So could you explain to us really, I guess, what an autonomous mobile robot is, and tell us more about MIR and the sort of how what the company does, and also the typical applications that you see to help people better understand them?
Yeah, sure. So MIR was founded, kicked off around 2011. Really, the idea was to solve the problem of moving materials around in a factory or in a warehouse or wherever. So that's traditionally done by someone maybe pulling a pump truck or forklift trucks, or pushing a trolley, or some kind of material movement like that. That movement could be automated, and that's why we're a mobile robot that will move items from A to B, and that opens up a lot of possibilities about what the objects could be. So we first went into the automotive industry. Automotive industry is very quick to take on any automation tasks like that. So, but we also went into hospitals, so moving samples around hospital, going up and down lifts, obviously in a very dynamic environment as well. So the idea is to transport materials autonomously.
Okay.
We're owned by Teradyne, which is gives us great financial stability for a growing company. And just recently, we moved into the same building with Universal Robots alongside us. So we're all there collectively together now. We do have sales and support offices all around the world, and we work with our distributors, integrators, and partners as well for the end customers. People might be familiar with AGVs, as autonomous guided vehicles. So they are robots that will follow something on the ground, whether it's maybe a tape or magnetic strip, or maybe even just going from one QR code to another around in an area. They've been around for a long time. But AMRs are different because we don't need that infrastructure. We're just going to use the natural features in the area to know where we are and to navigate around it. So there's no special infrastructure you need to put in place. If you want to change something, it's really, really simple to do that, because you don't need to make any physical changes around. So that's what really we're overtaking. That sort of technology is being overtaken there. If there's any obstacles in the way, an AMR will move around those obstacles wherever it can, or maybe it will find an alternative route if possible. And again, you can kind of set rules for that. So they're really kind of adaptable to different environments and how they go around different parts of the area. They're very easy to set up and or change as your production changes, and that's one of the key features of them. Is why they're useful for SMEs as well as for the big guys as well.
Okay.
Key thing is the safety. The safety is really, really important for AMRs. That's what really makes it an AMR. So MIR operates to, there's an ISO standard for it, which is ISO 3691-4. That means that the MIR will maintain a protective field around itself at all times. So it's got scanners on there that will see in all directions in a 2D plane. And if anything, an object goes into that area, we go straight into emergency stop. And then when that obstacle clears, we can recover and the robot can continue on its journey. Real question is, what are we carrying? And that opens up all these conversations that we have with customers about the robot choice, what the top module is going to look like that interfaces with the trolley or whatever it is that we're going to move for them.
Okay, so you talked about safety, the flexibility, and the flexibility of the application and to the environment changing. Are there any other key issues or advice that you'd offer manufacturing businesses, maybe at this early stage, if they're considering mobile robots? What advice would you offer them? Okay,
so there's really three main reasons why you would end up using a MIR. That's because what you're currently doing is maybe it's too far, it's too heavy, or there's just too much of it. So if you're going too far, it may not be that your site is huge, but if you actually track your movement of it goes from point A, then to machine, then to machine, then to machine, then to machine. If you track the actual route, it can be surprising how far a trolley can get, for example. So that's one consideration. Too heavy is one of those reasons why forklift trucks end up coming into production areas, because the goods have to be carried. They're heavy goods, so you need a forklift truck to do it. Forklift trucks are great in warehouses. That's where they're designed for. That's their operation. In production environments where there are people, that's where you get risks cropping up, and that's one of the reasons why you could use mobile robots to do it. The most common reason, though, is too many. It's one of the reasons why you get any kind of machinery in. You've got too much to make, so you get a machine to try and improve it. So it's exactly the same with mobile robots. It's particularly important because of people are noticing it because of labor shortages. Instead of having again another person to move the trolley around, they need to find an alternative now. So that's one of the most common reasons for it. One of the other considerations we have to take into account, one of the first things we do with any customer, is look at the space. Because as I mentioned before, you've got the robot, and then its protective zones in the area. We need to make sure that obviously the robot is safe in its environment, and it's not going to get stopped on the way. It can deal with obstacles, but of course you want it to be a nice flow through the production. And things are bound to change. The situations are bound to change in the factories as things develop, as things grow. So if there's different designs or different interfaces, that's what AMRs are really good for as an alternative, as a way of doing that. Yeah. But the key piece of advice is to start small and build up, and don't try and do everything all at once. Keep it really, really simple. It may be you start with one robot, and it may not be the most automated system you've ever seen, with maybe a manual way of loading up the robot. But it gets you started, and from then you can build up the automation, or you can add more robots if you want to. But starting really simple, start small, and then go up, and that's one of the key strengths for AMRs.
Yeah, I think there's a well-known saying that the hardest robot you'll ever buy is the first robot. So makes sense. Yeah,
and it's making that process as simple as possible. Really, a lot of the key things for mere AMRs is that it's very easy to make the changes later as well if you want to, and that's not a problem. That's absolutely fine compared to other large robots where it's kind of difficult to make certain changes afterwards. With mere AMRs, it's simple to do, so it suits companies that change often.
Okay. I can see how the flexibility and the breadth of capability would sort of fit SMEs, and as this program targets an SME audience in particular, can I ask you for any more eloquently explain how they're suited to SMEs and maybe give some examples related to SMEs?
Yeah, sure. So automation can feel like it's the domain of the big guys, the big OEMs, but it really doesn't have to be at all. I mean, for me, we do work with big OEMs. They tend to be a big part of our business, but MERs are designed to be used by everybody. The people who started Universal Robots, roughly the same guys who started MER. It's a very simple mindset of let's make this easy for everyone to use. So the best thing really to do is to treat it like any new investment in machinery. So it doesn't matter if you're big or small; it's the same process. You've got to make sure you're going to get your return on investment, and that's important to absolutely everybody. It's a process that we go through with all our customers, no matter what the size. We need to make sure that the payback is there, and that that's acceptable. And then the space requirements are there, and we'll be very honest about things that might need to change to do it. The AMRs just need that bit of space to move around. But that process is very, very similar, whether it's big or small, because it's the same technology, the same way of accessing that technology.
Okay. The UK in particular has got a really poor history over decades of a very low adoption of robotics and automation, and the International Federation of Robotics report, the latest ones, put the UK in 23rd place for adoption per 1,000 workers or whatever. What's the sentiment that you're actually seeing out in the marketplace now towards robotics and automation in the UK?
I think those who maybe at exhibitions or when we talk to customers, they're fascinated by the notion of what can be done with them and how easy it can be to access them. The UK has been slow to adopt robotics in the market, and also to keep up with that technology, because it is always moving forwards. There's always new parts to it coming along. I think it's really important for UK companies to realise what is available and have a look at see what that is, because it's a big eye opener to see what's happening in every industry. Automation is not just the domain of the big OEMs or car manufacturers or something like that, very under that traditional view. It is there. AMRs and cobots, collaborative robots, are designed to work with people, and certainly not instead of them. They're designed to work alongside them and make those tasks easier and better, and the tasks that people don't like doing So it's, as I mentioned, it's like that too far, the too heavy, or it's just too many of it. Those sort of jobs are ones that can be automated in almost any size company. And the adoption is definitely growing, a lot more now in the UK, and we are seeing people realise just how much benefit there can be of it. But I do encourage everyone to go out there and just have a look and see the exhibitions there are, or get in contact or anything, just to find out where the possibilities lie.
Okay. We talked about the rate of change and technologies changing quickly and also becoming a lot more affordable and a lot more flexible in what it can do. Are there any developments about to hit us that you can predict? What sort of future do you see for mobile robots, and in particular within the SME environment?
Sure, yeah. I mean, one thing I really want to highlight is cybersecurity. It's something that we've been working on as a key issue for a lot of companies. Again, it is not just the large OEMs or large companies that are facing this. SMEs are just as likely to face these kind of issues for attacks. There are standards that have been created around this for IT systems, and we've been working. We now follow these standards. So again, that's ISO 62443 for cybersecurity. And it's one of those things that people from all walks of life now have to take more and more seriously for their IT systems, as they depend on it more and more. We've released a new version of our software called Nearfleet Enterprise. It's built on Windows, and it's very easy to install on the site, and includes all familiar security features that people are now starting to see as everyday life, as single sign-on systems and backup onto the cloud. These sort of things. Nearfleet Enterprise is also much lighter on the IT requirements because we've made some improvements on that. So it's not a burden on, you don't have to get a huge IT system in just to run this sort of thing. It's not something that has to be a massive investment. It's just there, ready to go, and gives that level of protection that any IT department will be happy with. The other major development that we've had this year is around artificial intelligence. So it's a hot topic for lots of different reasons, lots of different subjects. For us, it's been a key development in our MIA 1200, which is a pallet jack unit. So it will lift a pallet from the floor. That pallet jack is using the AI to detect the pallet. So we've been teaching the robot how to recognize a pallet, how to recognize a good pallet, how to recognize maybe if it's a bad pallet. And it's doing that in full 3D. It's not just taking the front part only, or seeing something just in 2D. Taking a full 3D and making decisions about how to pick that up, and if it's confident to do it. And that's really made us a lot quicker to pick up pallets and move them around anyway, because the robot can make much quicker decisions about how to get in and get out. We can work with wrapped pallets because we can still see the pallet, and that's fine. We can still see it, and we've got it. And it makes us much more reliable, less prone to errors, and the AI system is able to learn different types of pallets as well. So if there's something very strange that someone's working with, it's fine. We can use that with the same unit, and it's just again a software problem. So that AI has opened up a lot of possibilities for us now in robots, in kind of that, in particular at the moment, just in pallet detection. So we'll see how that pans out for the future.
Okay. Interesting. Sounds like some interesting times ahead. On the topic of looking forward a couple of days, New Year's nearly here. We're about to enter 2025, which is a scary thought. But can I ask you, what are your hopes for 2025, your predictions? What do you see ahead?
It's certainly been a busy year this year. So it's good to have a bit of a break at the moment and reflect on it. I mean, we're building up to a few exhibitions actually at the start of this year. So there's the retail, supply chain, logistics exhibition in the Excel Centre in London. That's in February. If you want to come along to that, we'll have one of our pallet jacks there, as well as all the products, of course, as well. So more than welcome to come along. There are more developments to come from me. I won't give too many spoilers, but there are future developments for products and the latest software and so on that are coming for next year. So we will never stop. It's one to watch at the moment. So yeah, watch this space.
Okay. Talking exhibitions more generally, how would people go around contacting you, Adrian?
Sure. So I mean, anyone's more than welcome to jump on our website, and there's a contact section on there. So if you want to grab some information from it, you're more than welcome. There's also a section on our website called MER Academy, and it's completely free. If anyone wants to go on there and learn anything you want to about the MERs, you can go on there, and it's everything we can tell you about MERs, apart from actually having your hands on an actual robot. So it's not just a PowerPoint; it's very interactive stuff. If you want to contact me, that would be fantastic. My email address is adho@mir-robots.com. So if you want to contact me, that'd be fantastic as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for your time. I'll wrap up with the usual close of episode words. So if anyone would like to get in touch with the show with a comment, suggestions, or particularly if you'd like to be a future guest, please email inquiries@mtdcnc.com. Contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, I suppose the rest of the year. From me, Mark Weymouth, Plus Automation. Cheers, have fun, and happy 2025.